I believe, I'm not mistaken, during the same weekend of the Gundam Showdown. Um, I couldn't talk about it. It's mostly kept between the director and myself. Um, it kind of and I kind of want to just I kind of want to just like nip this in the bud already. The idea for the pilot academy, even if it sounds very similar. It wasn't stolen. It wasn't stolen. Um, this is something that when I got brought in, and I'll say it, when I got brought in by X-Ray, at the very beginning, asking me to do something for the community when it comes to the competitions, he brought me in. But when I met with GEVO, I built up my own relationship with them. That's why if you notice, X has nothing to do with like a lot of anything that's been going on. X has nothing to do with the league. He brought me on board to do something that he wasn't able to do himself because he wanted to be a competitor. So that's where I developed my own relationships with GEVO and everything else. Um, on the same note, I am a Bandai partner. I work with Bandai through Gundam, not through GEVO. I have a relationship with them through Gundam for the Gundam franchise and amongst different games, not just Evo. Talk about Battle Alliance, Battle Operations 2, etc., etc. My job is to kind of like propagate Gundam in the West, and that only happened after the events were kicking off. With that said, they did it. They did mention at the very beginning that that they wanted to have the grassroots scene. They want to have the competitive scene. Grown. Authentically through like grassroots community tournaments. This included myself and whoever else. I think it was ESA, and at the time that was also in the realm, and I just went full send with it. Um, I organized the pilot showdown. I didn't stream it. I didn't do nothing else apart from it. But I just organized just the match arena for a pilot showdown in order just to get that portion to make sure that everybody got paid. Then from that point on, the events for the second event and on, that's where that was fully my group. The reason why I'm telling you all this is because they mentioned that there was going to be something coming up in January that they wanted that was going to be working with the tournament organizers. There wasn't any idea we had like this is by the time that I kind of heard about this, I already had in place like in mind the new type league and the academy, the GAL came from that idea, and I was very vocal about what we were trying to do because at the end of the day, all these events that we were running, my main motivation apart from all that was to grow Gundam within the scene, but also to honestly, I wanted to get you guys what you deserved. I'm not getting paid from this. None of my casters, none of my producer, nobody, no nothing. Nobody's gotten anything from this. If anything, any money that I was gonna be able to garner or through like a sponsor or anything, I was literally already planning first to pay my casters, pay my producer Lux, and then whatever was left over, not even pay myself, was just to take whatever was left over and just kind of hold it for the next event in order to give you guys a bigger prize pool. So everything I've seen up to now has been crowdfunded or out of my own pocket. Um, when I found out about the second Gundam Showdown about a month before it released, but the news about the region lock didn't hit me until about a week and a half before. So that hit me. That was a sucker punch for me because, dude, nobody out here is doing anything. There's no love for any of the regions whatsoever, including NA. Um, and I didn't want to leave anybody out that had the chance to play. So when this got announced, I reached out to Intreasy, which is Anthony, who's the guy that you guys see on the what's it called on the announcement videos, the one that's been with Dumir on the videos and all that. That's Anthony. That's Anthony Vitali. That is the GO director. That is Intreasy. He is the community manager. So it's not Vampy. She's not a community manager. She's the social media manager for the Gundam Evolution the Twitter account. So if you see social media anywhere, that she handles that. But the actual community manager is actually Anthony. Do that as do what you want with that as you whatever you want to do. When the showdown went, you guys showed a lot of grit. You guys showed that you guys can still make it work. You'll be able to make adjustments, be able to still push through and play, for the purpose of getting the money or just to showcase who you are. Unfortunately, of course, it hurts me in person because I really want everybody to have a shot at every opportunity out there. But I'm not a Bandai employee. I don't get paid for this. I just use my own personal relations and bridges just to help you guys understand more how the back end works. Whoever tells you that they know what the hell's going on is complete bullshit. Put them in front of me whenever you want. I'll tell them exactly what it is. Nothing's as easy as people make it seem. So to all the instigators in the chats, all the people starting to make up ruckuses and all that, please keep the shit to yourself. People have other ways to do things. If you don't agree with it, by all means, do what you want to do. Do what you want. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is hurting the scene. This event, when I got word about it just this weekend over on the showdown, first question I asked was about the region lock. But that region situation was already in the works already. Nothing's changed. It hasn't even been more than a couple of weeks since that was brought up, and that they've been working on it before it was even brought up. So I expected nothing. Realistically, I didn't expect them to have a solution for this after a couple of weeks, especially not during the holiday weekend. Oh, during the holiday season. But sat down, talked to them. I understand what's causing the problem. I understand it. It's not that they want to. It's not that they want to hate on the European regions or any other region out there. It's not. I don't know who in their right mind actually believes that. Or that they feel like, oh, Bandai just wants to fuck with the EU players, or they don't give a fuck about their game, and what, they want their game to die. Like, whoever says that is a fucking ignorant. That's not what it is. Anybody who's done with legal matters, understands regions, understands how there's territories to things, should understand what I'm talking about. BNAE, in this case, Anthony's division, the Gevo team, is hard at work to get the region locks dissipated. I will say that there are some regions that are more accessible, that are easily more worked with, that will be added to the regions, and will get access to the events. But unfortunately, EU is not under the BNAE territory. That's under BNEU. You can't touch that. You can't touch that territory even if you are within the same company. There's jurisdictions that other regions can overstep, and that's what Anthony is dealing with right now. Believe you me, he's trying. He's trying, but it takes time. And believe me, everything's been put into place to start marching, to get the BNEU side to do what they need to do to let the EU regions participate. It's not about BNEU doing their events and for you guys to play in the BNEU scene. It's not about that. The UK isn't part of the EU thing. I'll look it up. I would definitely, actually, you mentioned that Russia was also brought up earlier today. But I believe the UK would still fall under the BNEU territories. But I will look into that subject. And thanks for bringing that up. Lux, if you can you jot that down, please, so I can just look into that later.
I got it.
So BNEU in general owns that territory, unless they had their own. And everything's about money, taxes, all that shit. You can't pay anybody outside this territory. Even if you say you won't take the money, it's still a legally binding contract. And we can't do it. That's why I was able to do what I wanted, because I'm not bonded by the Bandai rules. I could add JP if I wanted to into the mix, and they wouldn't say anything about it. But in regards to the European scene, that's where it gets more complicated. And I might be overstepping my boundaries by saying this, but man, I'm telling you, this man Anthony was even willing to put in his own budget from his own region to make shit work to get the authorization out as soon as possible. But even if that was the case to do it, he still won't be able to do it unless the legal, until legal gets everything kind of squared off, and it will get done, and it will get done. I ask you guys always to be patient, let it rock, let things happen. But I understand your frustrations. I understand you guys feel it's unfair and all that. But these are the rules that we're playing the game with. I don't want you to go out there, pitchforks and torches and all that, saying fuck the game, because it's not only going to mess with the game for yourself, it messes with the game for everybody else that has the opportunity to play but chooses not to, or that just wants to just say whatever. And I respect everybody out there who's gonna stand behind their teammates and all that, but that's not gonna help the scene. I know we have I just saw right now. So Tony's saying something right now about the little player base. We do have a small player base, and that's why everything that we do can be real detriment to the game. If you go ahead and you say fuck the rules, fuck the system, and I know, and I believe you me, man, I know you guys out there, man. Don't lie to me. Don't do something. I know there were people out there trying to rile up people to get into the team, make the top 4, and fucking quit the game and drop out to show the man that we mean business, bro. That was the stupidest thing anybody could have fucking done. I swear, man. Y'all can take that shit to kindergarten. That was a stupid move. To the teams that wanted to cheat blatantly because they wanted to win the money but not harm the scene, man, come on. You already know that half the community was already spending most of their time trying to find ways to report other teams to not have to deal with them. But don't make that shit easy. Like, these are events that are going to come our way that's all we're getting. Like, this isn't just one Evolution Showdown. This isn't the only series the circuit is going to be getting. This is all we have, man. This is literally all we have, homie. And I'm telling you, and they've told you multiple times, that they are going to be working with this. But the players being impatient has nothing to do with Bandai at this point. What does have to do with them is their game. Their game needs to be fucking fixed. Their game needs to be addressed. That's what is their responsibility. And this is not something that nobody has said before. That we have been very vocal. And if you think that they don't read your feedback forms, they don't read the letter that Legacy wrote up on your behalf, that they don't read everybody's stuff, they do read it. Now, everybody's perception of, they don't really care about it, or they're not reading it because of the time it takes for them to take action on it. Again, that is a us problem. That is not a them problem. They have to get their shit taken care of, but nobody knows what it takes to make it happen. But going outside of everything was going on, this is what I got to say. The GNL did not get bought out. GNL did not sell I didn't sell my soul to the devil, like some people were saying. Like, why did I agree to this? And I know who I'm talking about. None of that happened. We joined with Bandai to do the event with the Pilot Academy for the better of the community. Since day one, we made it clear, and everybody here was aware of it. And we even said it in the podcast episode with Legacy on it. I was aiming to do something with the Breakout series that could benefit you all in the long run. My idea, one simple idea I know that could be done, was to get all your placements added or at least used when it came to the showdown. Multiple people reached out to me via DM asking me, are they going to use your placements? They were not going to do it. They were going to do it because they already ran it. They're going to run with what they have. So, unfortunately, they wouldn't use it, but they already had something in motion that they were just waiting to tell me. So once the showdown kicked in, they told me, we're planning on taking not just that, but we want to work with you and other tournament organizers with your event so that all the participation from all the players can be for a better good, and that will be the showdown. The showdown will not be an open tournament anymore like it was in the second one. It would be like an invitational or earned through your merits. So, as the Pilot Academy really is, It's just a series. It's a circuit. If you guys know Tekken, the Tekken World Tour, or the Capcom Cup, it's a series of tournaments that people play in. They earn points and they rank up. And the top of the top, in this case, the top 6 of the Pilot Academy will gain entry into the showdown. And prior to the showdown, there will be one event that will be the last chance qualifier, which will be open for everybody to play for the last 2 slots to be in the top 8. That's what the Pilot Academy is. And that's what we've been working to try to finally get. Because I was screen capped. I've said it multiple times. I've read it multiple times, including from people within this community that says Crazy's events are shit. They're not worth our time. Where is our money? This shit ain't official. All the stuff that I've been hearing all throughout the last 2 to maybe 3 months, the last 3 events, it stays there because it motivates me to find out what can I do to help you guys out. I want y'all to get a good scene where you guys can fucking compete, be the best you can be in that, make your money, get paid, and all that. Fortunately, I can't do that with how the GNL is. The scene is too small. Sponsors don't look at us as a marketable area because there's not a lot of people. Half the reason why we don't have a lot of people because people don't want to play the game anymore. They give up, but then they come back to play in the showdown. How the fuck can I compete with people who fucking trash the game, leave the game, don't want to compete in my events, and then come back only for the 20K tournament to 58 entries? 58 entries. And a lot of them were people that played before for us and called us shit and said we had no money, went in as a different name and competed. So to them, the problem isn't the scene. The problem is the events. There's nothing there's nothing that we can offer to get you guys in here, right? From 16 teams to 11 teams to 9 teams. That's what the last 3 events were. And kudos and support and thank you so much to the teams who came back or returning teams every single event. And to the teams that couldn't do it because of issues internally, I respect that. Thank you. But in order for there to be something, the community has to give back. If it wasn't because of the region lock, none of this right now would be happening. None of this conversation, this town hall, the complaints, none of this would be happening if they didn't have the region lock issue. It will be something completely different this time. Oh, the optimization. Yeah, but when we play these games, bro, we ain't worried about optimization. We trying to get that fucking dollar, right? I want the best for every single one of you guys. Hate me, love me, whatever. I don't care. I want the franchise means more to me than you guys ever think. I need this to work because I want this to happen. Because for me, Gundam in the West, we have been overdue for this. But in order for us to have something, we can't keep doing this bullshit about trying to go out. And I'm calling somebody right now. Sunglasses. I don't know why you think is the proper way to do it, to do a boycott. That is not the way to do it. Everything that you guys have been saying has been read by Anthony, has been read by the Bandai. They're seeing the responses. But they're also seeing the unprofessionalism, man. Let us complain about it right now and say in a month, you guys get back in here. EU comes in here. We finally get what we wanted. That's not going to take off the problems that we've already had. To the ones that think I sold my soul to the Bandai devil, John Bandai himself, don't worry about it. Sunglasses isn't here, but you guys can fill them in. To the people that think I sold my soul, my soul to the devil, bro, please. If I didn't make this move, nobody would have anything later, man. This is the only way that we can have something that when that region lock gets taken off, there's something already in progress. There's something happening already. If I back out, there's no events. Bro, I'm not scared of competition. I want the EGL to do their thing. I want the ESA to fucking to pick this shit up already. I want them to do their LAN events. I want esports engines to look at you guys and start giving you guys. I don't give a damn if they outdo me with pricing or whatever. I don't care. I want you guys to get events. But unfortunately, nobody else wants to touch it, bro. Everybody's being fucking lazy, man. And you can tell them I said this. I've been very vocal about it. Nobody wants to touch this game for you guys because it's not convenient for them. The first excuse was the lack of spectator mode. We did it. Why not them? Excuses. They keep telling me the same shit. We finally get spectator client. I haven't heard one person say anything. So when this opportunity came by my plate, like, yo, this is gonna be this is gonna give the very competitive people the chance to run for that money. No more freebies, no more participation trophies. This is gonna be garnering the best of the best. I want to see Toto 1010 in there, man. I get it, but they did it inside the showdown. I want to see the skill issues without the accusations that they had an EU player in there. And I hope that they didn't have an EU player, even though I know the truth. I don't want that to happen again. I want to see all those skills. I want to see Omni play. I want to see all those top name teams, IQ. I want to see my own team play in there. Oh, and by the way, about why did I address my own team first? Bro, I don't work for Bandai. I am not the community manager. Before I can address a whole community, I got to address a small group of people where I can see where their head's at. So if you felt that I did you guys wrong because I didn't address a full community of people waiting to chop somebody's head off, and I talked to my team, which I know who they are, well, sorry, not sorry, man. I knew what I was doing. That shouldn't change the fact about anything. I'm not, like I said, thank you, subject, but at the same time, I'm not even asking for this, man. Like, I want this, man. I really want this for you. I want this for myself so I can see this fucking good franchise out there. To the ones who aren't Gundam fans and just like the game for what it is, and I thank you so much because the game is fucking amazing. It just needs to get polished. What was my main opinion about this? I feel the game got released a little bit too early. But the community wanted it. Everybody wanted the game early. But I know right now that we should have released this game later on. But it's what we have now. The game is not gonna be canceled because we stopped playing. Because we have an issue with. They're not gonna stop going this game. Even if they have worse other franchises in their arsenal that are worse, and they're still running 5 years strong. You see what I'm saying? They're not gonna stop this game, man. They're still gonna run regardless. But you guys should be here to take in and be the first to get everything. And that's why I do what I do. I speak to everybody. I have my relationship with like everybody from Bandai, GEVO, and then the contract that they have to do their social media. I get in contact with them to be in the loop of what's going on, respectively, and to say to you guys to be patient because there's something good coming. Now, this whole thing wasn't to kind of badmouth you guys. It's not that, but I really want you guys to understand why I tell you. It's patience. 3 months into this game, 4 months already into this game. There's we got an esports scene in a way so early. But if we didn't have it, we would have been complaining about why we don't have it. Let's run with it. I'm telling you, it is getting worked on. It is trying to get fixed. You guys will get everything you guys wanted. It's just a matter of time to do it. But in the meantime, if you want this scene to strive or to have any relevance at any given time to be known out there, we need events. Not just from me. We need Bandai to come through and show us. Give us something to do. Give us something that we can still do. Even if EU can't play, CA can't play for now, South America doesn't even have a scene yet, it's still something that's being done. Unless you guys believe that the solution would be to just close the game out completely, don't give you guys nothing, and just leave it in the past. I don't agree with that scenario, but we need this. This is why, if you guys haven't noticed it, if you guys go to start.gg, you will see that under the Pilot Academy banner, there are 4 events, and those 4 events are ours. We have events out of the 6 weeks. We have 4 out of those 6 weekends. This is going to run from January 7th all the way to March 26th. That's the last day for any tournaments to get their hands into this. After that, we get the last chance qualifier, and then we're gonna have the Gundam Evolution Showdown in April. I hope that you guys can vent, say what you gotta say. No, but still, for the ones that are able to participate, get in there. Set the precedent, set the precedence for everything that will be coming up in the future. For the ones that can't play right now, get it ready for them. So all the USA players that can play, I would say play. If you guys don't want to play in my events, you want to play in somebody else's event, if they decide to do it, then I respect. But in the end, just know that I got the best intentions for you guys. I go to bat for you guys all the time. I don't put my head down when it comes to them. They understand that, and that's what they work with me. But don't, if you guys make a decision, do not do this based on an echo chamber. Don't let other people's instigation affect your decision. If you don't want to play the game because you don't want to have to you deal with the situation with the infrastructure, the base game, or even have to wait, you want to move on to play Overwatch, Farm Simulator, fucking Becky's Barbecue, Madness, whatever you guys want to play, it's on you, man. I respect it. No harm, no foul. But don't guilt trip other people that want to stay or work out for this thing. Don't guilt trip them to feel like they made a bad decision and they're fucking all you're falling into the system. That's not it. I hope that you guys hopefully I answered some of your questions. But I know the overall question is this. Regilock, when is it gonna be taken off? I don't know. Is it being worked on? Yes, it is. What is EU? EU is the more troublesome region to work with right now. That's the one that they're also pushing for, but that's the one I know is giving them the most issues. But other regions that are more accessible can be added easier than in EU, and that is also being worked on. So this is why they specifically stated in the description, more regions will be added. It's because that's what they're working with. They're working through that. So please do me the favor. Don't mass ping bomb Bampi. She has nothing to tell you guys about that. That's not her realm. Don't mass bomb Entreezy with like threats and shit like that, because that's not gonna fix a thing. I take the blunt of everything because I know you guys. I know all of you by this point. And I take whatever you guys got to say and now try to understand it. And if this I can push it forward, I push it forward my way to get the point across. But don't think that they don't give a shit about you guys. Don't think that they don't care about your concerns. Don't think that they want the game to flop, because they don't. That small team of developers is hard at work, and you have no idea how small that team is to be able to accommodate all those requests and everything. And yeah, for me, the main thing that needs to be addressed is in the capital gain is the optimization. When they optimize this game and makes it playable for you guys without frame drops, then for me they can focus on other things. But that's the main goal right now. Fix the game in that aspect, and I know I have received responses that they are working on that. So I'm about to open it up real quick. I'll circle back all the way up to the top. I don't want to skip anybody because I want to give everybody their fair due. Lux, you can unmute Lux.
Batty had a question that I reposted earlier.
Okay, so you know what? I'll search you right now.
The question.
You know, if you can, okay, just tell me the question.
No, I can just repost it right here for you. I got it copy and pasted.
Okay. If Leo gets it done, does this mean EU players can only play after March and miss the third showdown, or can they enter mid-group stage? Based on the rulings that I read, now this is just because if they want to cover their ass. They said that if you're not part of the region, you won't be able to participate. I don't believe so, because at the end of the day, this is one thing I will say. The events are handled by the TOs. My events are my events. They're not governed by the Pilot Academy. The Pilot Academy just tells us what we need to do in certain aspects, like they want us to be a double elimination tournament. But if you look at their rules for the showdown, they don't apply a ban system or a draw clause. But we do. So if midway through they get authorized, I'm immediately going through and telling them I'm letting the guys in here from the EU side and CA and wherever the region's been banned. I will tell them I'm going to let my guys in now. There's no reason why they can't participate because if they're allowed now, then the showdown there should be no problem. So I will allow the EU players to play as long as they're not gypped or screwed when it comes to the final event. Because I want you guys to. I know my guys are gonna make the top ranks immediately. I know you guys are. So that's my 2 cents about that. The GNL events under the Pilot Academy are also governed by the organizers themselves. Gundam Evo does not intervene in those things. Waiting for some rank 10 to hold, giving catch to the tiebreaker map pick. That one, okay, so that was a little bit of a tricky thing. The tiebreaker thing wasn't really what you guys thought. We actually fed them. We actually fed them a little bit of info, and we made it based. That's if you notice they picked up Lunar Com as a decider. That's kind of what we do. So they were using a lot of our standards there. Give me a second. You can probably hear me typing right now. Okay. Shit, I lost track. So can you people play on the 7th? Yes or no? And this at this moment, no. Anybody from outside of the USA under the current guidelines, no. Non-region players will not be able to play. That's the only thing that we have to abide with. It's just a region lock thing. So no. I don't have. There's no rules there's no rules at all where it requires you to have a roster lock like we were planning on doing. And for the Pilot Academy, no, you're not going to be held back to that. So you guys can swap out players as you go. Give me a second because I know people are. All right, so let me see who's still here. Now I just got. I've been talking with Gevo. I and I'm going to ask this as a huge favor, a humongous favor. I'm going to bring in Entrezy here now. He actually asked me to because well, that's going on. I'm letting him know what's going on, and he's willing to come in, but with the promise that the people are going to be professional, respectable. Remember, everything I've told you, this is what's going on, okay? Don't mess this up. Please don't do that. All right? Please. He's going to come in. I'll let him speak. This is the only chance, bro. The only chance you guys have to actually this is the first chance you guys have to be able to speak to Anthony. Um, and I assured him I'll bring him in, but I don't want it to be out of pocket.
His mic didn't cut out. That's how he usually speaks. He
No,
stops on
sorry,
a
no. I was talking, but I had to stop because I'm also DMing as well. So
dime. That's what I was trying to let them know.
yeah. But regardless, what I'll do is I'll give like you guys can ask your questions and we'll really kind of like what we're doing right now. We'll relay it to the host and he can answer the questions as soon as possible. But I do want to let Legacy talk on behalf of the community because he deserves it. Kind of like the deserve to actually speak his mind, and be respectable to when Anthony comes in here. So if anything, yeah, I will. I prefer. I think my better judgment is to let Legacy talk and just ask what he needs to ask and just get the answers that he's looking for from Anthony. So give me 1 second. Who's pinging me here? what Jay wants to. Jay. Okay, so why? All right, so I can't go into details on why there's a region in the first place, but what I can say is it's all because Bandai, even though it's a full thing, they're divided into territories, and they have to respect each person's boundaries right now. So I got Anthony right here. I'll relay it over to Anthony. Actually, let me unmute him real quick. Um, Anthony, can you remove your mute or not? Lux, can you remove the mute?
Um, I mean he's not muted on my screen. It's the channel that's
Oh, give me a
keep
second.
him muted. You have to give Anthony and Legacy perms if you want them both to speak.
Yeah, I got you right now. Actually, I'll do something better. Hmm. Where is it? All right, Anthony, you can actually unmute if you want now, just in case. Let me see if he's working. Sorry, guys. This is the first time. This is a new channel I had to make just for this. Man, there's so many DMs coming in. And then bring him in. There he goes. Hello, Anthony.
Hey guys.
Hey, guys, adjust the volume as you need, just in case. All right, because everybody's at a 400%. So, and thanks for coming by. This is a brief little town hall meeting thing that I kind of started up today because it's basically after the announcement. A lot of people had a lot of feedback and complaints that they need to address because of multiple things. Um, Nobody's ever really had the opportunity to kind of speak to you before, so I kind of want to have this opportunity to let them ask any questions they might have that you will be able to answer. But there's one person I do want to let speak on behalf of the community, which is Legacy LGCY. Now that's in the chat. He actually had the opportunity to. Like, he was the one that wrote the letter to you guys the first time. So I want to give him the chance to do it. But while I give him, while I'll figure out this whole channel thing real fast, so he can unmute himself. The floor is yours.
Cool. Thanks, Craze. Hey guys. So first of all, for those who don't know me, I'm Anthony. Anthony Vitali. I'm the esports manager here at Bandai Namco, working on Gundam Evolution. So, firstly, it's great to get a chance to talk to you guys. I'd like to be able to do this more. I know a lot of you have some great feedback for the Pilot Academy that we just announced today, and just for the esports scene in general. And I want to be here to hear you guys out, to gather all of your feedback and see what we can do to improve and make everything better. I recognize this group as the most passionate members of the group right now. This is kind of the birth of the competitive scene. For this new game, we want to continue to grow, obviously, and you guys are a big part of that happening. I did want to shout out Legacy. You know, we were very thankful that you had written, compiled all of the community feedback, and written a very thoughtful letter. I do want to say I can't speak on behalf of the game team, but I have shared that letter with the game team, and they've been considering how to respond to it since it's not all esports related. But that being said, you know, I know that the announcement today is very much esports related, and you guys have a lot of feedback for it. I've been reading the chat since this morning. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to ask me questions directly and just to get to know you guys a little better. And hopefully, you know, make this a little bit more of a regular occurrence that you're able to chat with us. You know, I will say first and foremost, I'm not an esports. I'm not a community manager, so to speak. Obviously, I represent the competitive community internally. But you know, first and foremost, I'm an esports manager. So my job is to create events that you guys would want to participate in. And so, you know, I know there's some common themes to some of the feedback that I've been reading, but I won't take your guys' voice away at this point. I did want to go ahead and open the floor up to, questions that you guys have specifically you want me to try to answer. I'll do my best to give you the answer that I'm able to give right now. But this is pretty much off the cuff. I'm not here with like a PR team. I'm not here with the community team. I just work really hard on making esports events for Bandai Namco, and I want them to continue to get better. And I want you guys to be happy with what we're offering. And so I think this is a great chance for me to learn from you guys too. So with that, happy to take some questions.
Okay, can you hear me? Am I all good?
Yeah,
Yep.
I had to. Sorry about that. I had to pull you out so to be able to get the new permissions. But you'll be the only one to be able to speak for the community. So yeah, you'll be able to ask your questions to Anthony, and like I said before, just keep it respectable and just really get your. But this is your chance to do it. Okay.
Yeah, no, of course. First, I just want to say thanks for doing this in the first place. I assume this is like out of office hours for you and everything. You're just doing this because you want to. Everyone else, I don't know if you've seen like the chat of the call, but a lot of people are saying thanks as well. So I just thought I'd bring that up because it is a big deal that you're here. So I do appreciate that. The first actual question that I think most people want to know is, what is the actual like problem in regards to like not letting people play? Like a lot of us have assumptions, whether it's like payment or taxes or like all of these different things that it could be. But I guess like could we just get some insight onto like what the actual problem is? So there's no more like assuming things like that.
Yeah, happy to clear that up. I think it's valid feedback. I think some of you guys might have figured this out already, but I do have experience in esports from before joining Bandai Namco. I was over at Blizzard Entertainment for a little while, and we ran esports for all the games there. So I'm the first person to understand that these concerns about region accessibility for our tournaments are very valid. I'd be the first one to acknowledge that even before my time as an esports manager, that the European scene were some of the strongest esports teams across gaming, not just in first-person shooters like Counter-Strike, but obviously League of Legends and just so many other games. So, firstly, I do want to talk to U.S. only and why it's currently in that state, and try to give as much insight as I can about which regions are available and why, and kind of what we're doing to fix that. So firstly, the best way to describe the situation that we're currently in is tied to so Gundam Evolution is obviously made in Japan. It's made by the Japanese part of our company that makes the game, and then they hired me to help lead the esports efforts in North America. So right off the bat, kind of my jurisdiction and where I have the ability to operate is North America currently. That being said, there's also kind of some separate kind of more legal stuff that has to do with where we're able to operate esports currently, and that is limited to the United States. That being said, like I mentioned, I'm the first person that spoke up about the fact that we need to be able to allow European players as well as Canadian players and even Latin America and the rest of the world to be able to join in these tournaments. Fully acknowledge that it comes off very weird that we're trying to grow an esports scene, but we only have exactly one country able to participate in that esports scene currently, and then two if you count Japan, which I don't manage, but I do have some insight on. So understanding that everybody here is not going to be from the United States, that provides some challenges not only for the people who aren't in the United States, but even for the people who are, but their teammates are from Europe or are from Canada. So that said, it's not so much a payment issue, though that does play into it. That can easily be solved with just a little bit more spend on our side if we wanted to allow players from other regions to compete. It does cost more in order for us to be able to pay them if they were to win a tournament, but that's not the prohibiting factor here. Actually, the main prohibiting factor is what I mentioned before, is kind of my jurisdiction where I'm able to operate. So speaking to the U.S. region right now, being the only available region for the Pilot Academy and for the Showdown, that's something that I want to fix as soon as I possibly can. The very first opportunity for me to do that is when we get back from winter break here at the beginning of the year. I'm working with the legal team. We're already actually in motion to get basically the rest of the Americas added. So all of North America, most of Central and South America. That's again within my jurisdiction. Where it does become a little bit more challenging is Europe, and I have to be honest, Europe is probably not a beginning of the year sort of fix. There's kind of a lot of differences in the way that our company operates in these different regions, and Europe has a lot more requirements that I cannot personally fulfill with my team. For example, the need to localize all of our announcements in different languages such as French, German, Italian, and then also, as you guys know, there's been some challenges in trying to get the type of gameplay experience for whether it's ranked EU ladder or just games in EU in general. That's something that still needs to be improved on by the game team and getting those situations set a little bit more improved in order to be able to get the clearance that I need to be allowed to run esports that includes Europe. So I wholeheartedly understand that especially yourself, Legacy, and just others who are from Europe, you're feeling excluded right now. I have to admit that that's a huge bummer for me that that's the case, because there's a lot of skill that's being left off the table because of that, and obviously we want to find the best players and try to showcase the best players. So I wish I could tell you more about why we are kind of stuck in this situation where we're not able to bring in Europe at the moment, but that's one of my top priorities. In fact, it is the top priority for me, is to be able to allow you guys to compete cross-regional. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight. I don't know if that necessarily answers the question that you were asking, but happy to elaborate on anything that I just said.
I think that covers, I guess the question itself of why we can't play, so I think that's fine. I think that's a pretty different answer to what most of us assumed as well, so that's good that we heard that.
Yeah, and like I said, the first thing that I want to do when I get back in the new year and talking to the legal team, who will also be back from vacation, is to settle that. Even the European discussion, that's not a discussion that's off the table at this point. I think it needs more time. Part of the reason why we wanted to get the Pilot Academy out now rather than waiting was to make it so that the events that I know Craze has been working really hard to put together could count towards the overall Pilot Academy leaderboard. Again, I know that causes a situation for folks who are not in eligible regions, because that makes it so you can't participate in the official program. But I did want to acknowledge that Craze has been doing a lot of, and his whole team here, and all of you guys too, have been doing a lot of good work in the community, and it's not gone unnoticed. We acknowledge that the GENL is awesome to see so early on in the game's lifespan, and the fact that there's these many participants in it, and they want to to help grow that scene organically is something that I can't respect enough. I want to be able to make it so that counts. The last thing I want to do is shut Craze down and block you guys from doing the community organized efforts that you're currently doing. I think it's actually really promising, but yeah, it does pose a challenge for me to solve this internally with the rest of the game teams and the legal teams to make sure that what you guys are doing does not get stopped. I don't have any plans to shut Craze down, or any of you guys down. I saw that you were interested in organizing your own tournament, Legacy. I fully support that. I think that would be really cool. I think if we nail down the branding a little bit, I'd even be happy to get more visibility.
I think that's
the Free the Homies Cup. Yeah, I mean, I think I love the idea behind it. We would want to magnify what you're doing to our audience that we have, to make it so that more and more people are aware of the community organizers that are out there. So I don't take offense to it. I know that you guys are very passionate about it, and the feedback that you have is all valid. So I hope to continue to see tournaments where there are other regions involved. It's just, again, from a legal standpoint, I can't approve it to be a part of the Pilot Academy. But that said, I know the GNEL and the Academy for GNEL was very much run, getting to the point where it was fully up to speed. There's a reason why I reached out to Craze early to have some discussions with him about how we can work together. I know that Craze has done a lot to build your guys' trust. I think he's been doing a great job with that. And so, I want to continue to, lean on his help to be, the voice of the community to us. But also, he's gonna need your guys' support in order to keep doing what he does so well. And so, I just want to let you guys know that this isn't a situation where I'm asking him to stop, or I've asked him to change his events or anything to that nature. In fact, if he wanted to run the GENL alongside everything that we're running, we would be happy to magnify it further. So anyway, I just felt I needed to get that off my chest because there was a little bit of a misunderstanding there that seemed to be voiced a few times as well.
Okay, no, that's good. Thanks for clarifying all of that. The next question I have, I guess, is in regards kind of again to people being able to play, but just about like general rules that have applied to other esports before, and I was just wondering if they would qualify for this game. So, for example, let's say you have a full team of European players, or just mix and match wherever they end up. Would they be able to sign to a US-based org and play like that, or is it a complete no-go if you're from outside EU, even if you're playing under like an official US-based org? They deal with all like the payment stuff, so your legal people wouldn't have to deal with that. It would just go through them. Like all the stuff in like a normal esport, would that apply, or is that still a complete no-go for EU and other places?
I think we'd have to figure out exactly how it would work, but I mean, I'm open to the idea. Just to clarify the rule as well, it's just right now, because it's the easiest way for us to verify it, it's U.S. residency. So you basically just need to have a U.S. address and a U.S. bank account so that if we were to pay out to you, you would receive your payment via a U.S. bank account. And you would need a U.S. address in order to do that, even if you're not a citizen. So I did want to clarify that it's just where you live. That being said, yeah, I mean, I know that there's some scenarios where a team plays under an organizational banner, and that organization's based out of the North America office or whatever, and we can potentially have an agreement with anyone who plays for a rule, I should say, for anyone that plays for a US-based org, to be paid out to that org, that org being a US-based entity, and then they pay whoever from their side. That's not off the table. I wouldn't say it's a hard no. It's just not currently written into the rules at this point. But if that's something that this group is interested in, I absolutely want to pursue that opportunity, that option. I can't say for sure if that's something that will be okay or not until we get back from the break and I can have that discussion with the team internally.
Yeah, that's fine. Is that something that we could look at? Because I feel like that works for a lot of esports in general, where you can kind of just get around a lot of like laws and stuff, like a lot of different countries and different parts of the world by doing that. And I just think that's probably something worth looking at, because I know I've done that before in other games. You know what I mean? Like I've played on American teams from England and have had no issues because they just pay the org pays me, you do all your taxes properly, you sign all the proper forms, and it's all good. There's no problems. So if we could look at doing that, that would be great.
I think that'd be an elegant solution. For sure. That would at least allow, players who are able to secure a spot on an NA org that's based out of NA with, NA bank account, everything like that. I think that could potentially work. So, I mean, I appreciate the suggestion. I think it's absolutely an option we should consider, and something that, I'm writing down here as a note to bring back to my team when I do talk to them next.
Right. And I guess it's a win-win for the game as well, because if you're bringing orgs in, and if you get like a notable org, that's promotion for the game. Like it's literally a win-win too if that can work. So,
yep,
I think if we could look at that, that's really good. Another question I had is, would it be possible just when it comes to like I guess esports decisions, like you said that you've got your team, are you sort of like the guy that makes the decisions, and like do you get the final say on it, or is it like is there like someone above you, I guess, in regards to like this is like the official rule set, this is how it works? Like, how does that work?
So, in short, the decisions are mine. I obviously still need to get proper approvals through all of the various channels that I have. But at the end of the day, they're looking for my recommendation for whatever the ruling or the rules would be, the format. And so, I know you guys had a lot of feedback regarding different aspects of, for example, the showdown, which Legacy, I know yourself you weren't able to participate in. But for example, we were reading a lot of the feedback from the survey that a few of the players had filled out. By the way, if you guys haven't filled out that survey that was posted in the chat over at the Gun Evo Discord for the showdown, please do. I'm happy to collect all of that. But at the end of the day, it's whatever format is finalized is based off my recommendation. There are times where they might ask for me to make a change. For example, originally when I wanted to do the showdown, it wasn't US only. It was all of North America, but I was actually asked to limit it to United States because of our legal agreement that we need to update in the beginning of the year. But if there's anything related to format, rulings, the way that we operate the tournament, that all can come through me, and I'm happy to consider what your guys, suggestions would be, and we can see which ones make the most sense and try to implement them as necessary.
That was going to be my sort of follow-up to that question, where I was going to say, like, would it be possible to get, us or just the people that, like, play the game and play the tournaments, would it be possible to get us more involved when it comes to, like, formats and ruling and, like, all, like, just general esports stuff? I feel like we're out of the loop on a lot of things, and there are some things we see with, like, format, and it's like, that doesn't make sense, or, like, that's not as good as, like, it could be, and we all, like, see it, but we don't really have, like, a way to, like, voice it or like I guess like share our opinions and make it feel seen in a way. So like, would it be possible, and like a subject just said in the chat as well, like would it be possible to do this sort of thing like once a month, or like on whatever sort of schedule you could do, or just keep us updated in the loop somehow, like however you see fit?
Yeah. So firstly, I mean, in terms of getting you guys involved with the rules, the Pilot Academy rule set should be up and published. I think you guys should be able to click on it and view the rules on the Bandai Namco website.
Yeah.
So the rules are never final. We do it's part of the rules that we reserve the right to update them as necessary. So for example, if I wanted to add a region because I was able to do so, then I would, and I can. But right now you can see the rules for the Pilot Academy, and then you can also see the rules for, I think it also has a little bit of the Showdown rule set in there. One of the things, for example, that I removed based on feedback from the last tournament, and to be honest, just from watching the tournament, was we're no longer going to do a grand finals reset at the end of the double elimination tournament. That's just one small example. And even that rule is not necessarily set in stone. If we think we can, tweak that to be even more friendly to the teams, then I'm open to that feedback. So you guys have access to the current set of rules, and those rules would apply to the next showdown as well. But if you do have any particular feedback that you want to voice, shoot me a message here on Discord. I don't know if my DMs are working right now where you could be able to message me, but if not, just tag me in a message in the chat. I'm in all of the Discords right now, so you should be able to find me in one of them. My name is the same in all of them, so you can just message me. And I'm happy to to consider what changes we might need to make before we get to that point in the season where we can't make them anymore. So feel free. In terms of like the regularity of me coming to chat with you guys, I mentioned at the top of the call, I'd really love to be able to do it more. So this is kind of my first time doing it, and I kind of wish it was under better circumstances. But at the same time, you guys need to be able to hear from folks at Bandai, and that's part of my job is to understand what you guys are thinking and what would make you guys happy in terms of the overall scene. So I'd like to do this more. Maybe we can schedule it a few weeks in advance so that you guys can prepare questions and whatever other feedback that you need. But I can work with Craze to set up that time. Happy to set aside an hour or two, even if it's monthly for now, to come in and chat with you guys and hear from you. I think it's important for me, and also I think it's important that you guys know that I'm hearing you and passing along your feedback to the rest of the team.
Yeah, no,
give me one,
that
give me
sounds
one
like a
second,
great
Legacy.
idea.
It's gonna help you out. It's gonna help you guys out. What that is. I know that Devotion just set up a feedback channel. I'll be more than happy to set up a channel here where the team captains can gather up all the information that you guys want to kind of relate to Anthony and give you guys only the team captains access to that channel. That way, you're not bombarding the people. Like, random people aren't bombarding it, and the fact that this server, at least this one in particular, because we've just been using it for competing teams, like recurring teams and stuff like that. I would put it through here and not have it put into anywhere else because of the fact that it's so bombarded with people who are just going to be trolling around. So to avoid that, if you guys, if the team, sorry, not team count, if the team owners that you guys designate are comfortable with that, I can make the channel and then Anthony can just look into that channel and see all the stuff that he gets tagged on for that. If you guys want to do that way.
I think a lot of people are saying that sounds good. So yeah, I think that's like a good way of doing it. And we don't like spam his DMs, and you can actually like see feedback from, I guess, like the people that like play the game all the time. You know.
Okay. So I'll get to work
Yeah,
on that,
it
and
would be
you guys can all agree on who your representative will be for the teams. Okay.
That's fine. I'm sure everyone can
yeah
work that out.
super valuable to me to be able to get that from you guys. I'm seeing your responses in the chat as well. Happy to have it, visible to anyone. I don't necessarily need it to be private. Anything that I would tell your team captains or your team owners, I would be happy to tell anyone else in the public. It's just not going to be, anything secret there. You guys can probably respect that there's some stuff that I can't go directly into, but as it pertains to esports, as it pertains to kind of growing this competitive community, I'm all for transparency, and I haven't been doing the best job of it lately. Now that we're kind of in the new year, I'd like to be able to do a better job with it with you guys, and so feel free to use that avenue. Whether you have to go through your team owner, or if you find a way to message me, feel free. And I'll do my best to address it in a timely way. But I think having a monthly session where we can kind of summarize what we've been talking about, or if there's like a really big topic we need to get to the bottom of, I'd love to dedicate some time, regularly to talk to you guys in person like this. Well, at least in voice.
Yeah, no, and everyone's saying how much they appreciate it, because it is actually a big deal that you're doing this. To be honest, like, we do appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to do it. It actually means a lot to me that there's this many people who are so interested in making sure that it's the best scene it could possibly be. I know that there's plenty of other people who are not in this chat that still benefit from the positive interactions that we have. So even if I can help this group get the visibility that it needs, I think it'll end up benefiting the entire scene as a whole. So happy to be that conduit. At this point, it's just me here on the esports team in terms of voices that are able to come to the community and speak. So it's a responsibility of mine that I kind of took on when I joined the team. And that goes for more than just tournaments, by the way. I know a lot of you guys probably catch the videos that we make. I'll be the first to admit that, like, I'm not necessarily a golden boy when it comes to speaking in these videos and bringing the messages, the exact things that you guys want to see. But I mean it when I say in those videos to let me know what you guys want to see in terms of content, or who do you want me to work with. I've only worked with a few of you so far in the community. I'd love to, make a few videos with Craze. If there's others in there that want to, be a part of the content that we're creating and spreading the game to more fans and bringing new people into the game. Happy to read ideas and talk to those people and maybe make some plans to make some content together. But I think that's an integral part of what I'm doing here is it's very much to try to get as many players, playing this game as possible. And the way that I'm doing it is through, community and competition. But, if we're making cool content and everything, I think that could also help. So any ideas that you guys have, or any particular content that you're interested in seeing, or feedback for the content that we've already made, I'm all ears. I won't take offense to whatever you guys have.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'm sure there's like a ton of people, myself, I'm sure other people who would be down to do content. Like, there's probably a ton of people who stream, and I'm looking through the chat and I see like at least like 10 people that'd probably be down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and if you guys are making your own content too, same thing. Let me know. We can at the very least amplify it. On the channels that I have access to. We want to get you guys as well known as possible. I know there might be some assumptions based on who we've already worked with, and that we're only willing to work with certain people. That's not the case. That's just the first people that we've been able to kind of get on the same page with in terms of being able to make that content. But especially if it's just highlighting stuff that you guys are putting on your own channels, that's very easy for us to do, and we want to do more of that.
no, that's great. Honestly, that like the fact that you're like looking at doing that is good, because we haven't seen any videos come out for like a while. So it's like the fact that you're like looking at it and are open to doing it with people here. That's a big deal. So that's good.
Cool. Anybody else have any points of feedback? Any other questions they want to direct my way? I'm happy to answer.
I did have 2 more questions from other people that have DM'd me.
Okay. Sure.
The first one is, what can players do to help grow the scene outside of competing?
That's a good question. I think the first part that I mentioned earlier about you guys, voicing your opinions, making content that you think is informative to the players and just overall entertaining. Like, we want to help magnify it. We are looking for people who are helping evangelize the scene. I'm not going to speak on behalf of the community team. I know that they've got some strategies to work with streamers and to try to magnify the marketing a bit more. But I know that what was really valuable to the game team, at the initial onset, was the fact that there were people who were making content dedicated to the game, and not necessarily, it wasn't the only game that they played, it wasn't the only content that they made, but if they're making good content, that's easy for us to turn around and show to the game team, and for them to give me the thumbs up to say, okay, yeah, retweet that, or okay, bring that person on for a spotlight, and those all come from suggestions from me, and I just do that based off of seeing the content that grabs my eye. So, I think you guys should continue to, whether it's you're writing something up in long form, like written version, or you're making video essays, or you're making how-to videos, or you're just, doing a recap of something, or you're reacting to the announcement that we make. That's all really cool stuff. It's, at the end of the day, it's helping us spread the word about the game. So that's an easy thing to do. The other part is, in terms of like getting involved and helping grow the scene. Understanding that, for example, for the Pilot Academy, and for the Showdown too, we wanted to make it easy for players who, maybe they don't have a regular team, to be able to find a team. We're not going to be the ones going in and manually scheduling scrims for you guys. Like, we want you guys to kind of own some of that on your plates, because it's ultimately something for you. But I think there's a lot of players out there who are interested, but they're just not on the in with 5 other people, and so they're looking for squads. And so if you're in a position where you have a team that has a spot, try to reach out to some of these folks and continue making these scrimmage groups, or building out your own official team, and working with the folks who are out there that are looking for people to play with. I know there's, at the end of the day, you might want to find the most skilled players. That's a given. But yeah, I think, whether it's making content or it's just being communicative with each other, I think those are kind of low-hanging fruits. And then I would leave some of that to the folks who are managing the community team to develop a little bit further, in terms of like getting more eyeballs on the game. But from an esports side, I think that's probably the easiest way to help right now.
Okay, no, that's good. I guess, as a couple of people said, that any way we get Twitch drops for the game, seeing that is like
Oh,
the best way to market any game right now. And Overwatch is like single-handedly using that to stay relevant on Twitch, even though the game is horrible. So
Yeah. How do I say this? All I can do is really wink and say that that would be a great idea. I wish I could tell you guys if we were to do something like that, when that would happen. But I just cannot right now. But what I can say is rest assured, I absolutely know that Twitch drops work very, very well. Again, I come from Blizzard. I know how Overwatch 2 has benefited quite a bit from working with streamers and getting drops across all of the channels that opt in. It's huge. The tech wasn't in the game at launch, so it's not something that they could have done immediately, but it's actually like number 2 on the list amongst some other things that I bring up as something that I want, because I'm sure you guys also noticed the first showdown, lots of people watched it. The second showdown, not as many people watched it, but the people who did watch the second showdown watched it for a longer period of time. I think that's an important stat that I've been sharing with the team that they're curious to know about. And what I tell them right after I share that stat with them is, imagine if we had drops, right? So they very much understand that it's a priority. It does take some time for the developers to get that into the game. So I can't promise a specific time frame or anything like that, but I will say we very much want drops just as much as you guys do. Not only because it's helpful for the folks who are streaming and showcasing the game, but it's also good for us to get people into the game too, right? Like you earn something in Twitch, and it gives you a reason to log into the game to at least go claim it, and that does kind of cascade into a more active community. So drops are absolutely on the radar, and so hopefully we can let you know if and when that happens as soon as possible. But give us the winter holidays here to sort that sort of stuff out, and then hopefully within some time. I can't even say when we might be able to let you guys know, but understanding the seasonal cadence is probably important to understanding when that might happen. Anything new being added to the game in terms of code or features will likely come with either a mid-season patch or a season patch. So those would be the periods of time in which a change like that might happen.
Save those for big updates. That's fine. I'm pretty sure most people would get that. Next question I had was
before we go to that one, just before that, because I know you asked a question earlier about if there was any changes made to the rulings in regards to the region lock stuff, if it would still affect their participation later on within the same season. That's something they wanted to bring up, and I know Anthony had touched on that, but I just wanted to just kind of reiterate on that. If for any reason and that, say for example, Canada or any other region gets added, would they still be able to participate mid-season 1 in the Pilot Academy?
Yeah, you guys let me know if this doesn't sound right. I'm happy to consider different options. But my hope is, and again, I can't make any promises here, so please take this with a grain of salt. But my hope is that I can get approval to add some more regions, especially the ones that I mentioned earlier, basically just most of the Americas. I would love to do that even before the first tournament takes place, so that those folks could, very quickly jump on a team and still earn points. But if it's the case that doesn't happen as quick as I'd imagine, I'd still like to be able to allow the expansion mid-season. Now, I obviously understand that there's some tournament integrity situations there. We tried to kind of combat that ahead of time by making it so that only your 4 top results actually count. So you guys let me know if we can add other regions in the middle of the season. Would you want us to, or would you want us to wait until the next season? Is my question to you guys.
I think I can speak for most people because I've heard the opinion a million times, but I think most people want to see them added mid-season. The only problem I see with adding it mid-season is it depends how in the middle of the season we're talking. Like if you're talking they've missed 1 tournament, maybe 2 tournaments, yeah, I don't think that's a problem at all. but I think if you're adding them later, there needs to be some sort of catch-up mechanic for teams that couldn't play that like come in later. Because if they can't qualify purely on like the amount of tournaments left or that sort of thing, it's like why are they playing in the first place kind of thing. Like I think if a team comes in, they like that team needs to be marked as like they earn X amount more points for their placement to make up for like the 2 tournaments they missed, for example.
Okay. I think that's worth considering and a fair piece of feedback. The other thing I would say too is, there isn't a limit to the number of tournaments that are in there right now. As you guys know, I think we got all of Craze's upcoming tournaments approved. But if there's anyone else out there that wants to host tournaments, we want to get them in there as well and give the players who do end up joining, even if they're in the United States currently and they just don't play in the first tournament, we want to give as many opportunities to earn points as possible. Obviously, the points are structured based on how many teams actually compete. So one way to combat that is to host more tournaments. But yeah, I wholly understand that. If we don't make that change early enough, there's going to be a lot of folks who are mathematically left out of the equation, even if they were to play in the remaining tournaments, just because they wouldn't have enough tournaments under their belt to even get enough points to be in the running. So I think that's fair, and we'll definitely consider some kind of catch-up mechanic if possible. I don't see why that couldn't be the case, but I'm just trying to keep it as fair as possible to everyone that has already participated and everyone that's coming in, and we'll do our best to find that middle ground. And if you guys have suggestions like that that you want to propose, I'm all ears.
I think that like sort of thing would purely just depend on like the timeline of it. Like if they get added straight away, I think that's fine. But if it's like more towards the end, I think that's when like you need to consider something like that. Another question, I guess, in regards to this too, with like keeping these teams together and that sort of thing, if people do come in, is do the points that people earned from like Craze's events count for this, or is that a completely separate thing? Those points are gone. Like how does that work as well for these teams? Because a lot of people have asked that.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah. Craze, did you want to say something first before I answer?
I don't say you want me to answer that part of the whole points from that, or do you want to take it over?
I can answer from the Pilot Academy standpoint, but if you have anything you want to say from the GENL standpoint, maybe you can go first if you'd like.
So yeah, just quick. So everything that you guys did in the last 3 events, that would be what we considered season 1. That would be something separate over from the Pilot Academy, and everything started from this 7th. Moving on would be under the Pilot Academy, so it'll be like a fresh start. I know somebody asked me, I believe earlier today after the announcement, they asked me if the seedings for my first event would be reliant on the progress in the last 3 events. That was something I was going to bring up with Anthony, but as he already made me aware that the events that I'm hosting are under my control, so there's no seedings whatsoever. But because I know who is going to be participating, if you guys come to participate, I would still use the seedings from before. Like I would be a fool not to use that, because I wouldn't want to put somebody who's new to the game in first seedings. So I'll take the previous 3 events and just start the academy seedings with that information, but everything after will be based on this first event. Is that was that what you wanted? Is that clear enough, or do you want me to?
Yeah, no, I think that covers it. So like the seeding at the start of your first tournament will matter. So for example, like the people on my team, even though I can't play, would get first seed. I haven't looked at the rest of the leaderboard, but
Yeah,
it would work like that, right? But like our points don't mean anything, but the seeding matters.
Yeah.
So.
The seeding matters, and after the first event, then depending on how you did that first event is how everything else will be applied accordingly. At least for my events, I can't speak for anybody else's, but at least for the GNL, that's how I would go about it.
Yeah, from the Pilot Academy, I hate to make it more confusing for you guys because I know it's not ideal. we can certainly work on this going forward, Craze and I together. But the point system for the Pilot Academy is obviously separate. The way that it functionally works is it assigns points to teams. So, for example, if your team has 6 players and you guys compete in the first tournament and you win and you earn some number of points. But say we allow a new region and you swap out 2 players from your team with those 2 new players from that region. The team still retains the points, and so it's going to apply directly to the team. And so we do need to look at rules about teams having some percentage of their original roster intact by the end of the season, so that people aren't selling teams. But at the same time, we don't want to punish people if, for example, a team owner decides to kick 5 players and bring in 5 new players. So we're trying to combat that, but at the same time, in order to track this properly, they do have to be assigned somewhere. And so for now, we're assigning it to the team itself. But again, super open to feedback there. If you guys have seen things work for other games that you've played, or you have suggestions for what would work in your guys' scenario, we're open to those ideas, and we can just see what makes the most sense, and we'll update the rules accordingly so that everyone is aware.
We actually apply that as we are now. All of our teams have the corresponding owners. We've had situations where team owners have disbanded their own team and joined another team, but we always keep the points specifically with the person who owns the team, unless they speak to us prior and said they want to pass on the ownership to somebody else within their ranks, but the team itself keeps it. If you guys feel that there should be a change in that ruling, then yeah, I would say get together with the team captains to kind of speak about that. But yeah, that's how we've been doing in the GNL. We have one person who owns the team. No matter who he flops in and out, the team keeps the points. Even if they go to another team, the original team is the one that owns those points, and these are non-transferable.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen with some of the other leagues that use point structures, or for example, teams that own a spot or a franchise in a league, they retain that spot even if they don't have any of the same players. So I mean that's one way that we're looking at it as well. But again, we're happy to make adjustments to what makes the most sense. Obviously, if you guys have feedback on that before we get started on the 7th, that's the best time to let me know. Is even over the break, I'm happy to talk about it. I'm constantly paying attention to all of our Discords here, and so you guys should definitely let us know what you would prefer to see in the way that how that works. And as Craze mentioned, if you go through your team manager, team owner, and compile all of your thoughts and have them present it, that's also really helpful. I did see a question in the chat about substitutes. I did want to call out that we want to increase the size of the teams to allow for substitutes. I fully acknowledge that live the day of the tournament, someone gets hurt, or God forbid something happens, the team has no recourse and has to play 5v6 is not a good solution in my mind. So we do want to allow for subs. I think the only part that starts to get a little bit hairy is when it comes to pricing. If you have 6 players or 7 players on a team, the pricing's kind of designed in a way that it's distributed evenly. And so I know for other leagues, they would just distribute for example, for the GGGP right now and in Japan, they just distribute the money evenly to all players on that team, even if they have subs. If that sounds agreeable to you guys, then we want to make the change to allow for subs in the future events. But you let me know what matters the most to you guys. I've seen arguments for a sub that never plays that doesn't really earn the pricing, but at the end of the day, we also need to keep the payment process as streamlined as possible. Otherwise, it makes it take longer for you guys to get paid. And so I don't think that the pricing would change. So for example, if first place gets $9,000, whether you have 6 people or 7 people, first place would still get $9,000. That probably wouldn't change, but If you guys have any thoughts on that, I'm open to ideas.
Yeah, I think subs should probably be allowed just because, it's just a good thing to have in general for various reasons. The payment, I guess, is a problem, but I think it comes down to like if they don't play, they probably don't get paid, but if they play, they get paid flat. I don't know. I think that's like for a per like team basis for them to work out amongst themselves, not necessarily with you. 'Cause it's just situational. I think like if a sub plays a whole tournament, then they should definitely get paid. But if they never play, then they probably also shouldn't get paid. So I think it depends.
Got it. Yeah, I'm seeing 7 in chat as a number being thrown out. You guys let me know what sounds like the most appropriate number. I think we're flexible there. It's as I mentioned, the only real snafu is related to payments, but we want you guys to be able to have backups because that's important. There's sometimes real life happens and you need someone to step in, as we saw for the showdown. So we want to make sure that's accommodated in the rules.
A lot of people are saying 2 subs max, so like rosters of 8, and then what Ender said and what I probably agree with is just pay the 6 original players, and then they can work that out amongst themselves. I think is probably the best way to do it, and that's how I've done it in other games as well. Like if the sub plays, you pay them. If they don't, then they were there, and that's it. I think. I think 8 is the number that people are looking for.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, we normally do 6+2. It just give them the advantage because it's not a huge player base at the moment. So a lot of times there's not enough people to go around. So when we allowed the 2 sub rule, it was so people could stock up on players to be able to at least count on that there will be people around a certain time frame, especially for like the EU participants that were going into the wee hours of like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Thank you, Legacy. That's why we applied that. So if we and later on after we culminate the whole town hall, we'll take in to see more. I know people are already said like having a 2 sub rule. We can talk. Let's talk about it and see what can we do, because that was something that was brought up that they wanted, because they didn't get to have a chance to have 2 subs in the showdown, so they were concerned about how the showdown would be applying that ruling.
Yeah, I saw, for example, with Team Mafty, someone needing to get pulled into work. I mean, that would be just awful if they're showing up to the grand finals with only 5 players, right? Like we don't want to see that either. So, we totally understand the idea of adding subs and I wish maybe we had gotten that rule in for the first showdown, but it's certainly going to be in there for future events.
Perfect. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Not specifically. Let me see. Just check DMs.
The one thing that you guys always mentioned to me in every survey and even every personal and like private interaction was the current state of the game and how there wasn't being enough promotion being done by the marketing team within NA. In regards to the structure, like they were more concerned about how the servers and all that are doing. So how the frame drops and then the capital gain portion. Like I know those are delicate topics right now because I know you might not have all the answers for that, Ant. But I just wanted to see if you can at least address, because I know that in that letter that these guys sent you that day, they addressed all that. So they were concerned that you probably might have not read it. So I told them you did, but if it comes from you, then I think they'll feel much better to know that that their concerns are being looked at and they are being addressed.
Yeah, of course. No, I think those are all valid. As I mentioned before, I'm also a conduit for you guys. So even if I can't give you the answer you're looking for right now, I mean, I want you guys to be able to at least funnel those frustrations through me. I don't take them personally, especially if they're related to the design of the game or the functionality of the game. I'm sure you guys can understand that I'm not one of the developers, but I do have, obviously their ear. I talk to them every week. The issue of capital points, I mean, I think some of you guys might have watched it. I'll admit it didn't have the most views on this video, but we brought it up as a question to the developers, and we asked it in a video on purpose because I know that that's something that you guys are interested in. When it comes to when it comes to capital point gains, they very much hear the feedback and understand that you guys want to be able to earn more capital points. I've seen suggestions about earning that after each match, or maybe if you max out your seasonal pass, that you get capital points after that. I passed all of those ideas along. I can't say for sure how they're going to implement that change, but I will acknowledge that the feedback has very much been heard by them, and it's up to the development team to decide exactly how they want to implement that improvement. But I know the response from Mariama-san was, hey, you can get so many points in these ways, and we're looking at ways of giving you guys more points. They mean that. It's just a matter of when they can get that change in and what that change is. So I won't speak on their behalf beyond that, but for points, I think that's capital points. I think that's a very valid topic, especially because if you guys are playing in tournaments, it makes sense that you have access to all of the mobile suits. It's kind of weird if for some reason you can't play all of the mobile suits, but some other team can. There's less competitive integrity there than I'd like. But when it comes to any changes coming forth in the game, I'm not really at liberty to tease when and how that would happen. But rest assured, they very much know that that's something that you guys would like to see cranked up. And so hopefully they'll be able to let me and you guys know how that's going to happen. Soon. Obviously, the mid-season updates. We try to do updates in the middle of every season. That's coming soon. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, the season rollover. That's usually the biggest time for us to put in big changes. So, I can't make any promises that something's coming in any of these upcoming patches, but that's the kind of time frame that it would happen in is during one of those patches. To touch on the topic of, there's one topic that I know was mentioned earlier, so I'll address that. But the stability of the game. Firstly, I wanted to acknowledge that there was some concerns about the custom game stability or custom match stability. People disconnecting and stuff. I was actually knocking on wood the entire showdown because I noticed that we didn't have too many disconnections on broadcast. Leading up till there was a point where there was like 3 in a row. So we've already passed along that feedback. It sounds like they're working on a fix for that within the next couple of weeks to help with the stability of custom matches, which I know doesn't really affect you guys outside of tournaments, but just in general, the connection stability was a little dicey for me, and it's not at all my comfort zone when we see people disconnecting mid money matches. But I did bring that up as a big concern for me with the game team, and they're working on that. But I do know that one of the big topics for you guys, and it's the same thing for me. I mean, I definitely have a 3080 Ti, and I've got a nice monitor too. I want more than 120 frames. And not only just the frame cap, but I know that if a lot of G maneuvers are going off at the same time, for me it gets becomes almost like a slideshow sometimes. That's no good. I'll be the first one to say that we want to see that improved from a competitive standpoint. So that's another thing that I've been bringing up to the game team on a weekly basis that I hear from you guys and from the rest of the community on Twitter is they want to be able to use the full breadth of their machines. This is a PC game, right? Like there's no need to limit it so much. But even if it is limited, like it should at least be constant. If it's dropping to a certain point, that's no good either. So I wish I could say that that's absolutely going to be fixed ASAP, but I just know that they're working on optimizing it, and then what they've let me know is it's not a quick fix. It does take time to be able to overhaul the system to make those improvements, but that is very much one of the top pieces of feedback that we get, not just from the competitive community but from all players.
Any word on the Zaku 2 melee exploit?
Yeah, Zaku 2. Zaku 2 and any of the other bugs that you guys share with me, which I want to thank you guys for like making really concise videos on how to reproduce it and everything, because obviously you guys want to fix so nobody exploits it. That makes it really easy for me to report it. Zaku 2 Melee is known by the game team. They're going to fix it pretty soon here. I don't know exactly when that patch is coming out, but they know that it's very much broken, and that's why they were okay with us not allowing him to be played during the showdown. It was a little bit of a shame because I know some of you guys are Zaku 2 Melee mains, and to take that out of your arsenal definitely sucks. But he was very much broken, and so that's something that they want to fix as soon as possible. I can't give you an exact date, but it should be hopefully pretty soon.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say, Craze? Because I have a couple more questions from people that have DM'd me.
Yeah, they're gonna. I know they're gonna flood your DMs, and this session that we're having right now, it's a breath of fresh air. I know for a lot of you guys because it's been a lot of frustration amongst you guys and a lot of a lot of people out there, just kind of like taking that anger and just kind of weaving you guys around for that, and that's something that I need. I know personally, I wanted to have this finally happen to kind of get you guys to understand why it's not just the flip of a switch kind of situation to fix these problems. Like, it's good to hear from Ant that that it is being addressed. You guys are being heard. It's whatever you guys send me. I literally have these conversations with Ant as much as I'm able to do. And
Yeah, I want to thank you, Craze. I know you guys share your feedback with him, and you're never sure if it actually makes it to the source. Craze does a great job of letting me know when you guys are providing feedback, and he's been collecting it in a very valuable way for us. I will admit, keep in mind when you guys do send in feedback that we have to translate it to Japanese and then explain it to someone who doesn't speak English. That is a challenge that I have. It's a real part of my job. But that being said, the fact that you guys are over communicative to Craze, and I want to offer myself, as a conduit for at least giving general feedback. If we could do our best to compile it and continue to compile it the way that Craze does, the more organized, the better. That's the best way to get it in front of the game team in kind of a checklist fashion. Like what are the hot button topics, the most important things that you guys care about that we can try to address in an upcoming patch. That's the best way to do it. So I think Crazy, you opened up a Google form. Like I highly recommend that we keep that rolling in terms of like collecting all the little things that could be going on. But if you guys just like need time to vent, or there's something that your team's going through that could be fixed from an esports perspective, I'd love to chat. Obviously, these bigger conversations are a little better for me because then I can just tell it to all of you guys at one time rather than having several different individual conversations. But at the same time, I'm trying to make an effort here to be a little bit more connected to the rest of you guys and understand what it is that's most important to everyone here. So, keep it coming, and please, don't beat up on Craze too much. He's doing all of you guys a solid by, collecting all of that feedback for me and sharing it. Same thing with the community team. I know there's folks on the community team who work really hard to put together the video content and go out to all of our live events and talk to you guys in person. Do them a solid and try to compile everything in a respectful way. And even if you're very passionate in your feedback, it definitely comes through. Just pass it along either to myself or to Craze or anyone else in the community. Bullet lists are ideal, but yeah, if we can get everything that you guys are talking about, we'll sync up, as a team internally, bring all that feedback together, and we can go to the development team in a united front and say that these are the most talked about topics in the community that we need to have addressed ASAP. And the development team appreciates that too. Like, they can't read English. So if you're, spamming the channel, that actually is just going to me or to the members of the community team, and we're just compiling it and sharing it with them. So they're actually relying on us to get feedback from you guys. So if you guys continue to be as vocal as you have been, we'll do our best to make sure that the game team understands what those issues are. So I know it's been kind of hard to believe that that's actually happening. But another thing that you guys might not be used to is the way that companies in different parts of the world talk to their communities are different. I'd like to believe that here in NA we're trying to be as transparent and open as possible. And if it's a game that's being developed here at Bandai Namco America, then I can talk to those developers directly. But if it's not, then we kind of are at the behest of the way that they like to communicate with the community. And I mean, I don't think it's a secret that sometimes certain regions, I'll use Japan as an example because it's the one we're talking about, the way that they communicate with the community might not be as genuine sounding or sterile, but they do mean well. The way that they talk to me about the game, it's clear that they care very much what you guys think. So if I come to them with a letter from Legacy, believe me, they went through paragraph by paragraph and have written out answers, and they're just kind of stun locked on how to deliver the responses in a way that you guys can digest it rather than just straight up responding to the letter, because not everyone knows where the letter came from. But that said, I just want to say specifically that piece of feedback, because it was kind of a group effort. That's been addressed. I've read their responses to it. Some of that I've actually told you guys here. But I do want to let you guys know that all the feedback that you're compiling and sharing with us is very valuable, and we can't thank you enough for putting in the time to put it together.
No, and honestly, like, you doing this today has helped a lot. I've seen like a ton of people saying thanks for coming, and we do really appreciate it because you've genuinely like cleared up so many things where it's like people have just been assuming, and like we've all had like ideas of things, or like when you reply to a tweet, does it get seen and that sort of thing, and like with the letter and everything else, and it's like you coming and saying like, yeah, we do see it, yeah, we're doing this, we just have these sort of complications, and explaining like why it actually happens is like a really big deal. Like that actually helps us a ton.
Cool. Well, I mean, I got to be the first one to apologize and say that I haven't been doing a good enough job. I want to keep doing it the way that we're doing it right now in this call. Being open with you guys puts my mind at ease that you guys are this passionate about the game. I mean, it's very helpful for me to it gives me the ammo I need to go back to the game team and push for these changes or push for these improvements. So I feel like I've let you guys down a little bit until this point, but I'm hoping I can right the ship and make it so that you guys feel heard from the NA scene at the very least, and as well as Europe, or folks like yourselves who can communicate with me. That's at the end of the day, that's a big part of my job. It's not just to put on tournaments, but it's to understand the pulse of the community and to connect this particular group to to the rest of the game team and give you guys a voice internally.
Yeah, no, and we do all appreciate you coming and doing this, especially like in your own time out of office hours and that sort of thing. Like that's a really big deal.
Of course. I do want to give more time to questions, by the way, but I can't stress this enough. You guys got to show as much love as you're showing to me right now to Craze all the time. I know you guys do, but he really has been a big part of why, is a big reason why I felt comfortable enough to come in here and chat with you guys about this today, and why, I can see why you guys trust him so much. He's actually someone that I really trust right now as well. I'd like to work with him even more. So keep pumping up Craze and participating in the stuff that he's putting on, and giving him feedback and giving us feedback. But I do want to share the love a little bit, because a lot of this has taken place because of his hard work, and he's not getting paid to do what he does, but he's a big part of why the community is as far along as it is right now. There's still a lot of growth that we want to see, and we want you guys, and especially Craze, to be a part of that growth. And I'd love to be able to have these conversations frequent enough that when we're talking about this again in a year, we can look back on this time and think about how we've made some important strides. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys acknowledge Craze as well. He's a badass for what he does.
It just hurt when you said I wasn't getting paid. That actually really hurt, but it's okay though. It's okay. I understand. Before we end this out, because I know that Anthony has to get back to work, because this whole Pilot Academy isn't just like a day's thing. Like, we're still doing things in the back. But I do want to ask you guys, and hopefully you guys can respond to me either in the general chat, the town hall chat. Can we, in order for this to succeed or even become something bigger than what it is, it's gonna take a lot of patience. It's gonna take patience, and I know guys are feeling some type of way because they want things now. But if we're not patient enough, we're gonna just like let go of whatever all the hard work we put in and just go and leave behind, and everything's gonna go to waste. So my question to you guys out there is, like, can Anthony, I'll say Gevo, can Ant and myself count on the support of this competitive community? I'm not even talking about the Reddit court. I'm not talking about the competitive court. I'm talking about the ones who have really put in the work since day one to show love to this, to make this something. Can we count on you guys to be a participant of this and to make and to grow it? Like, it will get resolved. Like, one day it will get resolved. But in order for it to get to that point, until we can let our EU brethren come into the mix, we need to, the ones who can participate, we need to make this work. So I'm hopefully we can count on everybody out there who's been participant to participate again in these events. Let it be my event, or let it be any other TO out there who decides to come into the mix. But we need to make this work in order for us to keep growing. Because if not, then it's really on us, man. And also, Legacy, thanks for coming by today, man. I know you had a lot of stuff you want to get off your chest, and thank you for doing it in such a polite and respectable way. I mean, that means a lot. And thank you for even coming through. I know we've been talking in DMs and all that, but a lot of people I can give out any information that I'm able to forward, and I won't jeopardize anything that you've been working on. But I'll keep doing my best to kind of mediate the situation and keep these guys grounded as long as they let me. But you coming in today, I know this makes it way easier for people to acknowledge that what we've been saying that you just repeated today was what was the truth. Bandai doesn't want this game to flop. They don't want to just get rid of the game. Like, they're full send on this. The process is very complicated. It's been really weird, but in reality, it's a baby, man. We have to nurture it. We have to kind of go through the bumps in the road, but we're gonna get there. Okay. So, before you gotta go, Legacy, anything you want to say before we cut it off?
What, like questions or just closing stuff? Like,
Okay.
Whatever you got, man. I don't actually have to immediately jet. So if there's any other questions, or if you just have any closing comments, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 very rapid fire questions, and then 1 suggestion in regards to the like people coming late. The first question is, and I know this wouldn't come under you. This would probably have to be like moved on to the devs. It is, would we possibly be able to get in custom games like a server selector, so like North America East Coast, North America West Coast, like that sort of thing, so that when if in future people can play in tournaments, it would be, you could pick the server you're on, so EU people don't have 150 ping, they have 90. Or, if your whole team is East Coast and the whole other team is East Coast, the game doesn't randomly put you on a West Coast server.
Yeah, I'll happily collect that feedback and pass it along. One thing I will say is custom match mode is not done. This isn't the final version of it. We're going to keep improving it based on your guys' feedback. I love the idea. I know other games have that, so let me share it with them in terms of something that was audibly mentioned in this meeting. I'm sure they would be happy to consider it. Obviously, timelines is a whole different thing, but if there's other ideas, even in addition to that, to improve custom match mode, like custom match mode is where a lot of us are going to live when it comes to competitions. So we want it to be the best thing it can be. For example, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was maps, picks, and bans inside custom match, or mobile suit picks and bans, maybe. I mean, just throwing ideas out there at this point. But I know you guys do maps right now. But like, if that's something that you guys want to see in the game, I'm happy to bring that up as a suggestion from our community, and see what they think. I think they want to polish up the custom match scene, or custom match tool, to be exactly what we need it to be. And some of those ideas are great. So I'm happy to relay that when I talk to the team next, and I've written it down here as a note.
Yeah, and I guess that goes for like every server in general. Just whatever you can randomly roll in casuals, ranked, whatever options there are, if those can just be put into customs and you just pick the server, that would be great. Just for a lot of people, like for scrims, tournaments, for everything, that would be a really big deal.
Yep, totally valid.
The next thing I had was in regards to a suggestion for the like late joining teams, if that does happen. Which I don't think is a bad idea. It says if someone is to join like mid-season or late, could you give those teams the like lowest amount of points from like you just take the number of points that the lowest team in contention for qualifiers has and just make that the baseline for like incoming teams. So they still have to play, but they're not at like a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's as if they played at least in one tournament and got the minimum amount of points.
They're at the
or
absolute
two tournaments,
baseline.
however many. Yeah. I like the idea a lot. I think that's totally doable. Let me go back to the legal team with the rules and make the suggestion for the change. I just have to make sure it's balanced. So I'm sure there's a way that any rule that we put in can be gamified. But in theory, I like the idea that teams that show up late aren't necessarily at a disadvantage just because they showed up late. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that we don't discredit or undervalue the hard work that the teams who have already competed put in. So I think it's just trying to find the middle ground there where everyone is happy. But yeah, I think having some mechanism in there that allows catch-up teams, at least for this first season, but maybe for future seasons too, for catch-up teams to be able to not be completely in the dust is worth considering. So let me get back to you guys on that. I think the first step for me will be getting those additional regions added as soon as possible. And then, based on what timeline that comes in, I think we will also probably need to, consider if we have some kind of catch-up mechanic in there.
No, I think it is definitely something that like you worry about getting the people in first, and then we come back and like talk about it afterwards of like what an appropriate thing would be. So I think kind of leave that on the back for now, but I do think getting people in is probably the priority, and then we can work that out afterwards. But
yeah, rules changes, they're not too hard.
Yeah. And the final question, let me just check, do I have anything else? I think this is the last one. Yep. The last one is also in regards to EU people and Canadians and EU people specifically. I think 'cause you said you're working on getting Canada in. They said, is there any possibility that the getting EU specifically in is so hard that it just never happens? Or is that something where like if you throw enough time at it, it will happen? It's just going to be a long time.
Well, I think it has to do with the two things that I mentioned before. So like legally, we have to get over that hurdle. If I'm not legally able to do it, then that'll prohibit us from ever being able to do it. But I don't think that's a problem for Bandai specifically. I mean, you guys know that we run other esports leagues. The Tekken World Tour is very much in every region in the every region in the world, including Europe. We've got multiple European regions. So it's not something that we cannot get over. So I wouldn't say that it's never going to happen, but it has a lot to do with the health of the game and then the league. So and the legal aspect of it. So obviously, you guys have heard me kind of beat that horse to death when it comes to getting my legal team to sign off on these types of inclusions. But the other thing too is the part that I mentioned before. We need to have proper, in order to really bring in Europe, we have to have proper support internally for promotion in multiple languages. And, at that point too, we're thinking about like, how is the game performing from a, from a player standpoint and everything, like all of the kind of no fun business stuff that goes into games. There's some there's some things that take that team, the European team's effort in order to produce, and so I'm working closely with them. I do talk to the European team weekly as well. They're I would say Japan is kind of in the lead right now in terms of how developed their scene is. I think we're behind them, and then I think Europe is still working on it internally. We all want to get to the same level, and that's also I will say that's also a big reason why we didn't come out of the gate with, for example, we didn't come out of the gate with like a global league or a world championship. We're kind of building up region by region. And so because of that, I think, the Europe region still does need some development before they're going to have, for example, their own like sub region to operate within. So I think the next best step and the easiest kind of bridge is to allow European players who are comfortable playing on the NA servers to come play on our NA tournaments. So that's what I can control. So yeah, I'd never want to say never, because it's just not fair to you guys, and I don't want you to stop playing because I say something wrong. I think what's more realistic to expect is that it's just going to be a little bit of a slower process, because it's not really my jurisdiction. But that being said, again, I just just 1 second of story time here. I grew up playing Counter-Strike 1.5 and 1.6. I know the talent is there in Europe. I know the players are there in Europe. I've been completely smashed by them before in the past. This is absolutely like the top of my list is how do we get spread the love to all the regions, because within enough time frame here, I very much do want to do a global tournament. I very much do want to do like a world championship where we're actually getting to pit Japan and their best teams against the best teams from Europe or the best teams from NA or maybe even South America, Asia, the rest of Asia. Like we want to get all the whole community involved. But this type of game is a little bit new for Bandai Namco. Not Gundam games, but first-person shooters, competitive first-person shooters. So it's going to take us a little time to get to that point. But you guys can have confidence in me, and you can trust me that that's something that I'm championing internally as my main priority, is expanding the eligible regions beyond just the Americas. And at the very best, it would be to set up, what we're doing in the Americas, set up a version of that across every region. And so I'm working with my teams to get to that point, the regional teams to get to that point. But I appreciate you guys' patience on that. And by all means, like if there's more voices out there who want to express their opinions on it, that's just more fuel for my fire and more ammo for me to share with the game team. Like this is a real thing that needs to happen. There's a lot of people who are not being serviced because of this. And so they hear that more than anything, and so that's the way that I've been framing it internally, and it's been making some movement, but I'll need your guys' help to keep the feedback coming, and that's easy for me to collect and share with the game team. And from an esports side, if we can get to the point where we're getting that equal promotion across multiple regions, I think that's a much easier discussion in terms of integrating Europe as well.
Anthony, I just sent you a DM. Sorry for the interruption. It's more about the questions here.
Cool. So yeah. Any follow-up questions? Anything else from you guys that you're curious to hear from me?
That is it as far as what people have DM'd me and I've seen in the chat. If anyone else has anything, DM me like now or just drop it in the town hall chat. I guess wanted to mention too, coming back to like the org thing with like getting a way around it that way. Are there any other ways as well that like we could look at doing that? Like for example, if I said, hey, I want to play this tournament, but I want no pricing, I completely forfeit it, I sign all the things away, you have like all the legal documents in check, is that real? Or is that like, that still can't happen? I'm just trying to think of like possible ways to get people involved, I guess.
It's definitely not off the table. I know that it gets into a little bit of a weird gray area for me, but I think the more possible solutions we have, you know, what we're trying to do is get one of them to stick. So if you guys, you know, have other ideas like that, I think we should just keep sharing them, and I can compile them and see which of them will actually work here. Because yeah, I know that came up for the showdown, for signups for the showdown. There were people who were really interested in competing, even if it meant they weren't going to get any prizing. You know, I can understand. It's just more fun to be able to compete in something and not get anything than to not compete at all. So you know, I hear you guys on that. I don't think that's a bad idea. We just have to compile all of those possible ideas and just see which one, you know, might actually work.
Yeah, no, I do think that's like a long-term thing, I guess, to like just see what people are comfortable doing and seeing what like you guys are capable of doing, because you know, I'm sure there are some things that we could suggest that you guys are completely against. So I think we kind of just need to know like what we can do, and then at that point we need to see like what people want to do, and then we can like meet in the middle there, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, I'll talk to the team to see if there's any, you know, known solutions. It certainly helps if we have ideas for solutions to present and that they could, you know, try to figure if they work or not. So we should do both, for sure. But in the meantime, I think, you know, we'll continue to share the ideas that you guys shared today. You know, I saw some mention in here of not hosting tournaments until we did get all the regions involved. You know, I understand the sentiment there, but at the same time, like I don't want to not do anything at all if you know, we're still kind of in the process of building it out. I think there just has to be some trust in the process of it being built out, and allowing for things to exist in the meantime for what we can do. But I mean, if that's something that everyone here unanimously agrees on, that's certainly a sentiment I can share with the rest of the team. But I get that sentiment. You know, I get that it's like, why not wait until it's polished up? But I truthfully don't think that you know, the scene can afford to wait for that to that point to host anything. I think we should just host stuff in the meantime. But that being said, you know, I can't reiterate enough that that's a priority of mine. You know, I want to make sure that everyone who's interested in competing has an opportunity to. That's a big goal. And so, you know, if you're able to compete in the future, like there will be more things to compete in the future anyway. So, you know, we want to try to keep it rolling, and also doing these tournaments gives us a chance to kind of test some stuff out. If there's things that don't work, then when we do get to that stage where we're doing like a global version of what we're doing right now, you know, an improved version, we can work out the kinks in the meantime. So yeah, I totally hear that feedback. Like, you guys want something more polished, and we're going to work towards that goal. But yeah, for now, we still want to keep running stuff, at the very least, because it keeps awareness of the game high, and it keeps people involved. And even if you know, there are specific regions that aren't able to participate in it, it does benefit the group as a whole if these things take place and they continually do better, and we can kind of showcase that to the community and to the you know, to the devs as well, that like, hey, these are performing well, why not expand it some more? You know, why not invest more, that sort of thing. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But I appreciate the sentiment. You know, it's a valid question. And that's my thoughts on it. I'm curious what you guys think, but yeah, that's probably the last thing I might comment on for now today, unless you guys had any last minute little quick ones. I will probably take off and finish up my work day too. But it's cool to see so many people in here. Let's not be strangers. Feel free to communicate with me either in the chats that I'm in, or if you ever want to tag me. If you're already following the Twitter account, thank you. If there's anything new that you guys want to see, let me know. I work closely with the team that helps bring all of that content to you guys, and we want to keep that flowing with the right stuff. So be communicative with me, and I'll do the same. Hopefully we'll be able to chat like this again, maybe a month's time or so, and see where we're at.
No, I think on behalf of everyone, thanks for coming again today. I hope that, I did a good job for everyone here as well. And you guys sort of felt heard with the questions that you sent me. We really appreciate you doing this. This honestly is at least given me more hope, and I'm sure other people have told me too, that just you even turning up and answering these questions and giving us real answers to things that we were sort of assuming on before. That's a really big deal. And if we can do these more in the future on whatever sort of timescale you work out, that would be great.
Cool. Thank you, Legacy, for being the voice for the rest of the group here. I think you did a great job. From my perspective, I'm appreciative that there's people like you guys in the scene who help speak for everyone else, and everyone else in the chat. Thank you as well. I'm glad to do this even more in the future. I think it'd be well worth our time.
All right, Pete. So I guess that we can close this off for today. Honestly, huge shout out to Ann for coming through and getting to meet all of you guys. I already know the majority of the competitive scene, but getting him to meet you guys meet all of you, it means a lot. And I know this put a lot of people at ease. To the ones who still don't feel at ease after the explanation, I mean, all I can say is there's a lot of ways to work around this. Don't get flustered. Let's plan around it. The events, this will not be the only showdown. I mean, I can say that, but because there's no way anybody could think that a showdown once a year will be the up to benefits of this game. Like these guys are planning a lot of good things. So if you can't trust the process, trust me. Nothing that was said today wasn't something that I've tried to clear up for everybody. If you guys want NA rank to be back, then start playing NA rank and stop going to Japan because those guys don't like you over there. You guys already know. I see.
Still waiting for VCY to get banned to this day. That boy racist.
Yeah. That it was a very that has been, and then I have sent over the stuff that you guys sent me because a lot of you guys are very, when it comes to reporting, you guys are very thorough, and I appreciate that. So that stuff like that has been sent up the chain to Ant, like on my part to Ant, and he has seen it. They don't agree with that, but let's see what can happen. Okay, just you guys want to bring back NA, then please go back to playing NA ranked. The only reason that there's nobody playing is because they play follow the leader. They all went to JP with you guys. Little by little, let's see if we can get the NA scene back on track. And I hope, and a little announcement. I have opened registration for the first event for the Pilot Academy, which is Celestial Assault. There's no entry fee. I'm not charging for this.
We have to give them the new link.
New link. Okay, so I'll drop it again. There's a channel up here for the breakout series in general to explain what we're doing. There's a channel up top for the Pilot Academy, which explains the whole entire Pilot Academy process, how to sign up and all this for the players. And you have now Entry's Corner, which is the one-stop shop for all team owners to communicate and drop information they would love Anthony to look over. So you have it up there. The rest of the community can see into the channel, but they can't type in it. Only team owners are able to send the messages in there. So accumulate what it is that you feel would better the scene. Do it in a very respectable way, and then you guys can go ahead and drop it. So hopefully that can help you guys, get, have your, feel like your voice is being heard. And if I get any information the next time we can do this, I'll let you all know. Okay.
It's good.
Cool. All right, people. And thanks for swinging by today. And everybody else, go play some Gundam. If you guys want to play,
thanks, guys. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
You guys take care.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.